Hey YouTubers, pipe smokers. I thought today I would do another chapter in my pipe smoking basics series. Some pipe smoking videos geared towards the newbies, try to share a little bit of information about pipe smoking. Those new pipe smokers who may be interested in learning more about the hobby. I thought today I would talk about the various different types of pipe tobaccos. And by that I mean not the different blends, like aromatics versus Englishes, but about the actual different types of tobacco leaves that make up those tobacco blends. So generally speaking, there are 6 different types of tobacco leaves that make up pipe tobacco blends. And of those 6, only 4 are actually true tobacco leaves, different tobacco leaves. The other 2 are actually more of it's not a true tobacco leaf, it's more of a type of process in which the tobacco leaf is cured and treated and prepared, not a separate species of tobacco. So of the 4 true tobacco leaf varieties, they are Burley, Orientals, Periques, and Virginias. Of the 2 that are commonly found in pipe tobacco blends that are not actual leaves, but more of a process, a way of the tobacco is processed or treated, are known as Cavendish and Latakia, or sometimes called Latakia. And Cavendish is probably something the new pipe smoker is probably more familiar with, because that's usually a good starter blend. Is something that has Cavendish in it, or maybe even a black Cavendish. Again, Cavendish is more of a way of describing the way a particular type of tobacco leaf is cured and cut. The tobacco maker will take any kind of leaf he wants, and he'll press that leaf into cakes. He'll then steam heat those cakes, and that steam heating kind of starts a slight fermentation process going on. And the purpose of that fermentation is to kind of bring out and accentuate the sweetness from the sugars that are in that tobacco leaf. So Cavendishes can be made from they can be made from Burleys or Virginias. Again, it's just the way that particular tobacco leaf is processed and cured and it's not stored, treated prior to being cut into whatever shape, ribbons or flakes or whatever. Latakias are typically made from Oriental leaf tobacco, in that the reason that is because Latakia tobacco originally came from the port of Latakia in Syria, but nowadays the vast majority of Latakia is made and processed in Cyprus, the island of Cyprus. So the tobacco maker will take that Oriental leaf and he'll hang it in a barn or a shed or some kind of building, and then he'll smoke the leaf. And by that I mean it's similar to the way like a barbecue is smoked. You take that piece of meat and you put it in a smoker, and you kind of take that hickory wood or mesquite or whatever, and you burn that, and the smoke coming off that wood passes over the meat, and that's what smokes the meat to create barbecue. It's a similar process with Latakia. The leaf is hung in a building, a barn, a shed, or something, and there's a heat source, some wood that's burned, and the smoke that comes from that wood as it rises and passes over the leaves, that's what cures it, dries it out, and gives it that famous classic smoky smell and aroma, reminiscent of like a campfire. So it's typically Oriental leaves that have been processed a special way by having the leaves kind of smoked, having warm smoke, waft over them, and that kind of cures and dries the leaves. Latakia is the flavor intensity of Latakia is pretty strong, so it's used primarily as a condiment type of tobacco. It's not the main ingredient, although in blends that are sometimes known as Balkan blends, they typically or frequently have a higher percentage of Latakia in them. So you get a really strong kind of Latakia hit from that smokiness. A lot of English blends and English mixtures have Latakia in it. That's the thing that's kind of classic and quintessential with English blends is their inclusion of Latakia leaf. So those are the two tobacco types that aren't really true leaves in and of themselves. They're more of a process of curing and cutting and preparing. So that leaves the four other ones that are actually true different tobacco leaves. We'll start with burley. Most burley is used in cigarettes. So if you have a pipe tobacco blend that has burley in it, that doesn't mean it's going to taste like a cigarette. It could, but not necessarily will. Burley leaf has a little bit lower sugar content in it, maybe a little bit higher nicotine content in it than other tobacco leaves. It has a pretty mild flavor to it, so it's used often in aromatics because it's very good at taking on the casing or topping that a blender may provide, and it adds body to the blend, and you use to hold on to that topping or casing. Next are Orientals. Those are leaves that are grown in the Eastern Mediterranean and Turkey. They kind of have a sweet and sour type of flavor profile, not like Chinese sweet and sour, but you get a little bit of sweetness, a little bit of this kind of pungent sourness to them. Interesting flavor combination. Then we have Virginias, which can be grown all over the world. They have a little higher sugar content relative to other tobacco leaves. It means they age well. That sugar really develops and comes out with age. So Virginia blends, or blends that are higher in Virginia, would be good candidates to cellar and put some age on, or try to develop that flavor profile. Virginias have kind of a complex flavor profile. It's not, what you're looking for is that sweetness, but it's kind of hard to describe a Virginia. A new young Virginia may kind of be grassy or a hay-like, whereas a well-aged, Virginia you may really get that kind of sweetness from kind of like caramelized sugar almost. And then finally we have Perique. Perique is tobacco that's pretty much grown in the St. James Parish of Louisiana. It also has its own particular traditional process from which it is cured and stored. Perique has a very peppery, spicy flavor profile to it. So again, it's pretty strong and intense. So again, it's used as like a condiment tobacco. It's blended in with other leaf, usually in very small percentages, like less than 10%, because it's very strong and intense flavor profile. A really nice mix is something called a Virginia Perique or Vapor. You get that sweetness from the Virginias contrasting with that peppery spiciness of the Perique, which is really nice. So there you go. That's pretty much it for the vast majority of pipe tobacco blends out there. Hope you guys found that useful. Love to see any comments, read any comments you have for you about this. Take care, guys.